get additional perspective now from Fox News national correspondent Bill Melugin. He's spent more than 170 days at the Texas border this year alone, more than any other national correspondent. Of course, we're also proud that he used to be a reporter here at Fox 11. Bill, welcome back. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Glad to join you guys.
All right, so let's start sort of at the top level. What is Title 42? Obviously, this is something that you deal with day in and day out. A lot of folks may hear that and think of it as sort of a bureaucratic term. What exactly is it? And on a practical level, how has it worked at the border?
So in layman terms, Title 42 is simply a public health rule that allows Border Patrol to immediately expel migrants back to Mexico once they have crossed illegally. And they're allowed to do that on the basis of public health because we're in a pandemic and they don't want people bringing communicable diseases in. So if somebody were to walk in right now, say from Mexico, Border Patrol can take them into custody, put them on a bus, bounce them back to Mexico immediately. It's a very quick process and it gets them out of the country immediately. And it's been used more than 2 million times under both President Trump and President Biden.
And without it, what happens?
Without it, you're going to lose access to immediate expulsions first off, and everybody's going to have to be processed via Title 8. So what does that mean? Title 8 means that once Border Patrol takes somebody into custody, they're actually going to have to go into a processing center. They're going to have to do all the paperwork, and then one of several things can happen. They can get transferred to ICE, and ICE can either deport them or release them. Border Patrol can hold them. They can get released into a custody of an NGO. They can get an NTA. There's all sorts of different umbrellas that can happen. But the point is, Title 8 is a much longer process, and under this administration, it usually means somebody is being released. So instead of having over 100,000 expulsions every month, most of those expulsions are going to turn into releases. So all this overcrowding you've been seeing at the border and these images of people at NGOs and sleeping on the streets, it's expected to get significantly worse because of that reason.
Well, and let's talk about the situation right now. We just showed some drone video that you guys have shot. The situation on the ground right now seems to be pretty dire, and it seems like it's only going to get worse. Describe what you're seeing day in, day out.
Yeah, so the two biggest hotspots right now are Eagle Pass, where we are, which is where that thermal drone video was shot this morning, where every single morning, sometimes multiple times a day, we will get these huge, enormous groups that cross illegally, usually anywhere from between 200 to 500 people coming across in these groups like clockwork. It's usually single adults, and they turn themselves into Border Patrol because they are expecting to be released. Then on the other side of the state, about 7 hours west of us in El Paso, they are having a major humanitarian crisis right now. They've been getting more than 2,000 illegal crossings every single day. Border Patrol facilities there are completely over capacity, so they don't have any room for people. So they've been mass releasing hundreds of migrants to the streets every day. And that's where everybody's seeing these images of hundreds of migrants camped out and sleeping on El Paso streets in the cold. They're also sleeping in El Paso's airport. They're all over the place, and that is why the city there has declared a state of emergency. And everything that's happening is with Title 42 still in place. Once it drops, you're going to have even more people coming in, and you're going to have even more releases, which is going to add even more stress to an already overburdened system in a lot of these small little border towns.
A lot of folks may not know that you actually are fluent in Spanish, and you speak to these folks crossing the border every day, have been for years now. What are the migrants themselves telling you, and are they talking about Title 42?
They are. We have gone into multiple Mexican border cities, and we have found migrants who are literally camped out on the streets waiting for December 21st, telling us they are waiting for Title 42 to drop because they believe it will be their opportunity to get into the United States. And that is why DHS is projecting such big numbers. Upwards of 14,000 a day could start crossing because there are so many people in Mexico right now waiting potentially for midnight tonight to cross. And when we do talk to these migrants, a large majority of them tell us they're here for work or they're here to meet up with family who have already been in the United States for years.
Bill Melugin, who has done better reporting on this than anybody in the country. Bill, we miss you here in LA. We're proud of you, though. Happy holidays to you, your mom, and everybody else in the Melugin family.
Miss you guys too. Happy holidays to all of you.